us together. It's a privilege that I'm partnering these webinar series with Zoho Books, thanking each of the participants who have joined today on very important topic, how to avoid errors in filing GST return. There are a lot of challenges when we file GST return. So I'm going to give you today certain silver lining mantra which you should keep to your mind. If those provisions and those silver lining mantras are being followed, I'm sure you will minimize your error and risk while filing GST return. Under GST, when GST got started on July 1, 2017, we are now on the verge of 5th year GST anniversary on July 1, 2022. When we started GST, initially it was envisaged that there would be GSTR1 to be filed by the supplier. And let's assume today in all discussion, I, Bimal Jain, would be supplier to all of you. And you all are my recipient. So supplier going to file GSTR1 by 10th of next month. It was envisaged. And that is going to be auto-populated in your GSTR 2A or 2B recipient, 2A or 2B. So when you're finalizing and filing GSTR 2 by 15th of next month, you can either add, modify, and delete. Add means any transaction which your supplier has missed and not furnished in GSTR1, you can add that transaction. You can even modify the transaction in case any mistake in furnishing the particulars by your supplier, or you may delete the transaction if it is not pertaining to you. And then recipient going to file GSTR2 by 15th of next month. And once you do add, modify, and delete, that is going to be auto-populated in GSTR1A for the supplier either to accept or reject. So supplier has to accept or reject, and then he will file GSTR3. This was initially envisaged. But we all know that the very first month, July 2017, government could not implement GSTR2 and 3. So this automated GST return system, which was envisaged, never got implemented. So I can make one comment today that since this automated GST return system was never implemented, for that region, there are a lot of problems today. Problem could be there are errors in filing GST return. There are a lot of dispute pertaining to ITC matching and mismatching. There are a lot of problem which we are foreseeing that supplier is not filing GSTR1 or filing GSTR1 but furnishing wrong particulars, the wrong GST number, B2B supply captured as a B2C, intrastate supply captured as a intrastate or vice versa. He's only filing one but not paying the taxes through 3B, or paying the taxes through 3B but not filing GSTR1. Lot of problem we have seen last 5 years. And where we are heading for, at the end of today's session, I'm going to tell you what government has now planning. And government is now on the verge of moving two-way communication, from two-way communication to one-way communication. And they are going to have sequential filing of GST return. What are the advantages? I will let you know at the end of my today's session. But before that, today we have to learn certain tricks, certain guru mantra, certain silver lining, how to avoid errors while filing GST return. So you must be having a piece of paper and pen with all of you, and you'd be ready to enjoy today's session of 50 minutes power packed presentation, extempore presentation. And I'm going to ask you a lot of queries also. So I really want each one of you who is participating and has joined this webinar, they must answer. Whether the answer is right or wrong, do not worry about. When we are doing a learning part, we must try out giving the answer. That is very important, and that is the first step to learn something. So what I will request you, participate, fully participate. This chat box must be full when I'm posting any query. Whatever answer coming to your mind, you're free to answer. And let me take the privilege and advantage to give you the right and correct answer. Let's start with. So in GST return, what we are doing as on date, we are filing GSTR1 supplier, and that is getting auto-populated in GSTR2A or 2B. But this 2A came into the picture only from beginning of 2019. It was not there before. Government was supposed to introduce GSTR 2A from July 17, but they did not implement. This 2A came sometime beginning of 2019, and we have seen a lot of challenges, fake invoice, fake credit, whether supplier has paid the taxes or not. If wrong particulars furnished by the supplier, what is the way forward in the hands of recipient buyers to correct it? Lot of problem and challenges. Then from 1st January 2022. So I'm going to discuss one important aspect today as well. Lot of scrutiny notices department is sending today that if credit availed in GSTR 3B is not matching with GSTR 2A, so they are sending the notices to the taxpayer. They wanted taxpayer must reverse the credit along with interest and penalty. So I'm going to discuss today what is the relevance of GSTR 2A when we look at the provision. Yes, I do agree. From 1st January 2022, relevance of GSTR 2B is important. My credit must be auto-populated in GSTR 2B. But still, I'm going to discuss today what happened. Credit coming in GSTR 2B, but still you can't take credit. And I will also discuss it is not coming in GSTR 2B, but still you can take credit. So let's pause and today enjoy this part of it. And what we are filing as a monthly return GSTR 3B in lieu of GSTR 3B, in lieu of GSTR 3. So 3B we are filing in lieu of GSTR 3. That's what as on date, and we know the judgment of Honorable Gujarat High Court, then overruled by Honorable Supreme Court in the case of AAP and Company, and they have said GSTR 3B is a return under Section 39. Lot of implication on time limit to avail credit. And we were having a lot of dispute that GSTR 3B is not a return under Section 39. So this is the position as on date. So what is we are doing GSTR 1 by supplier, 2A and 2B getting auto-populated for the recipient. Recipient has to avail credit, and credit must be matched with GSTR 2B with effect from 1st January 2022, and then GSTR 3B. In this given situation, we have to really capture what kind of errors can happen and how we can correct those errors while filing GST return. So when you look at GSTR1, which is to be a statement of outward supply by the supplier, and GSTR 3B, the consolidated monthly return under Section 39, wherein we make the payment of tax either through e-credit ledger or through e-cash ledger. I do not know how many of you are well versed with the content in GSTR1 and GSTR3B. Let me take 2 minutes and tell you table wise what all particulars we normally pick up while filing GSTR1 and GSTR3B. Let's start with GSTR1. So I'm doing my part here. You try to memorize yourself. You try to check yourself that what all particulars under which table we are filing. Let's take example of GSTR1. So rehearse within yourself. I'm doing from my side. You just check out within yourself. Are you really right? Are you aware of? Just recap quickly, right? GSTR1 actually start with table 4. Table 4 talks about taxable supplies, B2B supplies, registered supplier to registered recipient. That is the table 4. Table 5 is B2C, interstate, where invoice value is more than 2.5 lakh rupees. Table 5. Table 6 is your export of goods and services, 6A. 6B, supplies to SEZ unit or developer, and table 6C, deemed export. Table 7, B2C intrastate, whether 2.5 lakh below or above, and interstate up to 2.5 lakh rupees. Invoice value is up to 2.5 lakh rupees. Table 7. Table 8, nil rated, exempted, and non-GST outward supplies. Table 9 is the amendment. An amendment you do in table 4, table 5, table 6, and these are important. Believe me, these are important. For compliances, whenever we are looking GST, you must have fair idea under which table, what we are filling up, and how to correct and amend the same. So I will explain those part with you. So table 9 talks about amendment. Amendment pertaining to table 4, 5, and 6. When you are amending the transaction of table 4, 5, 6, and new debit note, credit note, and amendment thereof. Table 10, amendment pertaining to table 7, B2C, intrastate, and where invoice value is up to 2.5 lakh for interstate. Table 11, advance, received and adjusted, invoice raised. Table 12, HSN or SSE code for goods or services. We'll discuss everything, don't worry. Table 13, the documents which you have prepared for the relevant tax period. This is what GSTR1. Now let's rehearse the GSTR3B and recap quickly. Rehearse means you're rehearsing within yourself. So just go along with me so that you get your everything memorized and recap and recapitulate. GSTR3B actually start from table 3. Table 3.1a, which is outward supply. So it is talking about taxable outward supply, either B2B or B2C, intra or inter. Table 3.1a. And why these tables are important, you know that sometime when your figure furnished in GSTR1 does not match it with GSTR3B, you may be getting lot of scrutiny notices, right? Lot of scrutiny notices. Export which is being declared under table 6 is not matching with table 3.1b, then you get your export gets stopped and you're not getting your exports refund from the department because it is not matching. So a lot of disputes. So you have to make sure that today you capture the data in a way required to be for filling up your GSTR1 and 3B. So table 3.1b talks about your zero rated. Zero rated can be export of goods and services or supply to SEZ unit or developer with payment or without payment of tax. Let me ask one question. Let me check. If you are exporting without payment of taxes, do you require to furnish the data in table 3.1b of GSTR3B? You're not paying any taxes. It's without payment of taxes under LUT and bond. So your answer should be either yes or no. I just want to cross check that are you all sync with me? So there's one guy says no in between. Maximum answer yes, and yes we have to mention the value, but there is no corresponding taxes. So that is how we have to learn today. Very good. Maximum yes. So we are sync. Now then table 3.1c, which is nil rated and exempted outward supply. Table 3.1d is very, very important. Your inward supply subject to RCM. And we get a lot of queries in the market. What happens if I'm liable for RCM liability? If I'm procuring from the registered supplier, but RCM applicable, recipient to discharge GST liability. Or I'm procuring from unregistered supplier, but subject to RCM. So table 3.1d, you are declaring your RCM liability. Question is, can we take credit in the same month for which payment is to be made on 20th of next month? So if I'm talking about June month, RCM is liable to be paid for the June month. Let's say GSTR 3B. So question I'm posting, and you can always answer in a chat box, is RCM liability pertaining to June month, which you will pay by 20th July by filing GSTR 3B. Can you get credit in the same month? That's what, so you can write down same month or next month. That's what coming out. It is same month. Same month you will get credit. For June month, you can take credit. Only thing for RCM liability, you must declare first liability in table 3.1d and take credit in table 4a of GSTR 3b, subject to payment of tax, which is going on due date of 20th July, same month. RCM to be paid in cash. That is known to all of you. So table 3.1d. Table 3.1e refer to your non-GST outward supply. So this is pertaining to outward supply. And one question we normally get in the market, sir, what happened if I have wrongly furnished? And question to all of you. So it's answer by yourself. If I have furnished my outward supply in a particular month, let's say I made mistake. I have mentioned some value which was not correct. As against 10,000, it was mentioned as a 10 lakh. It was not your liability. And you're not supposed to pay tax on 10 lakh rupees. That may be one situation. Another situation could be, yes, I have mentioned the correct value, let's say 10,000, but subsequent month credit note raises for 10 lakh rupees. So when I'm filling up the data in subsequent month, it is coming negative in my outward supply. And this negative balance is not being taken by GSTR 3B. What to be done? Am I right? This question is there prevalent in the market. Am I right in saying so? Negative balance it does not take. And this is the practical problem. GST common portal does not allow picking up negative balance. It is problem with the GSTN. Law is saying that in subsequent month, you can always adjust with your credit note irrespective of any value. It can be negative also, but GST common portal is not permitting us, and that's the practical problem continuing. And trade repeatedly asking GST common portal, please do something as per law. Then what we are finding, there is GST law, there is one common portal, and they are having their own law, and there is no synchronization, and that's the reason lot of practical challenges for all of us together. So outward supply. Table 4A, ITC available. Input tax credit available. So first, table 4A1, import of goods. Table 4A2, import of services. Table 4A3, your all other RCM credit. Table 4A4, ISD credit, input service distributor credit. And table 4A5, your others credit. So credit need to be bifurcated. That is what GSTR 3B talks about. Table 4B talks about your reversal, if any reversal is there. And that may be on account of Rule 42 and 43, which is reversal of common ITC pertaining to exempted supply or others. Then the net available ITC, Table 4C, and Table 4D talk about your other ineligible credit, and this ineligible credit can come under Section 17, subsection 5, block credit and other ineligible credit. This is what the broader, framework of GSTR 1 and 3B. I only rehearsed all relevant table and try to understand. I am sure a lot of you are tax professional joining today, apart from client. Why we should know these particulars? Why we should know these tables for filing GSTR 1 and 3B? First answer. If I know that what all particulars I need to fill up, I can prepare my accounting software. I can prepare my books of accounts accordingly to pick up those numbers, correct numbers for furnishing either in GSTR 1 and 3B. So if somebody will ask you why I need to get these, B2C separately, B2B separately, export with payment, without payment separately, because we need to fill up the data. And once you're picking up the data, it is going to help you. So there are two pillar, and in two pillar, just allow me. In two pillar, one is the outward supply and one is your ITC. Let's start with the outward supply. I'm going to discuss a lot of things today because I'm finding errors are happening. Sometimes it is intentional, sometimes we do not know about it, sometimes it is an interpretation issue. How to avoid such errors while filing GST return, and what is the Guru Mantra? You must capture those Guru Mantra today. While doing my deliberation, I'm asking query. So let's keep on, posting your answer in the chat box. So let's focus on outward supply. For outward supply, my suggestion to all of you would be, you should have your customer master. Customer master means whenever you're selling, supplying of goods or services, you must prepare your customer master data. And just to start with, yes, we are having a two kind of supply, B2B and B2C. B2B means registered supplier to registered recipient. B2C, registered supplier to non-registered, unregistered recipient. Just for the sake of an example, I'm registered in Delhi, supplier registered in Delhi, and you all are my customer. You are registered in Maharashtra. You are registered in Maharashtra. Now I am asking only simple one question, and this question is relevant because if you are preparing your customer master, then you get a clarity also. And that customer master, once prepared, you will not have any error. So let's take two examples and try to answer by yourself. I'm supplying a registered supplier of Delhi, supplying goods to registered customer of Maharashtra. And transaction can be two mode. One is the FOR cell. FOR cell means supplier has to deliver the goods to customer premises in Maharashtra. Please tell me that transaction would be intra or inter. And for determining intra and inter, the theme is if location of supplier and place of supply within same state, transaction is intrastate. CGST and Delhi SGST applicable. If location of supplier and place of supply in two different state, transaction would be interstate. A lot of you have given the answer interstate. You have said that interstate. IGST leviable. It's clear to all of you. So a lot of you have given the answer. I go with you. my thumbs up that you are answering. Now come googly. So in cricket, googly need to be there. So in GST also googly to be there. What happened? Transaction is a X works. X works means you as a customer registered in Maharashtra will come to Delhi at my factory, supplier's factory. Supplier going to hand over the goods at my factory gate, at the factory gate in Delhi. Then you take the goods wherever you want. So I'm handing over the goods, supplier handing over the goods to the customer at factory gate. Please tell me, transaction would be intra or inter? Please tell me. Write down the answer in chat box. So a lot of you are saying intra also. Lot of you are saying interstate also. And I started. Now let's listen my answer very carefully. This transaction would be interstate. IGST liable. If you are treating this transaction as an intrastate and charging CGST and daily SGST, first I'm asking one query. Whether this, if you're treating intra, let's assume, treating intra, charging CGST and daily SGST, will credit going to be auto-populated in GST of Maharashtra because you're registered in Maharashtra? Is it going to be auto-populated? No, no, no. But if you prepare the customer master and when it is interstate party and you always click as an interstate, then quite obvious it will not be mistaken at all. You will always charge IGST. So just your system is placed. And why it is interstate, right? A lot of you must be thinking why it is interstate. Goods are delivered at the factory gate, right? At Delhi. That's the reason confusion. Listen the answer. There's section 10, subsection 1, clause A of IGST Act. It says wherever supply involves movement of goods, it is involving movement of goods, either by supplier, which was FOR cell, or by recipient. So when you're taking the goods at the factory gate at Delhi, of course he will deploy your transporter and truck to take the goods from Delhi to Mumbai, Maharashtra, or by any other person. Then place of supply would be where delivery terminates. So delivery is terminating where? Mumbai, Maharashtra. So transaction is interstate, argument number 1. Argument number 2. If goods are supposed to be taken from Delhi to Maharashtra, eBay bill need to be generated either by supplier in case of FOR cell, in case of X-work cell by the customer. You would be generating eBay bill from Delhi to Mumbai. Is it not interstate? It is interstate, right? So there are example which I gave. And third, your registration is of Maharashtra. Unless I charge IGST, it is not going to be auto-populated in registration of Maharashtra. So in all probability, it is IGST transaction, interstate transaction. And that is what we are talking about, seamless flow of credit. One nation, one tax. And that is how you can capture. So what is the Guru Mantra? Whenever you are getting interstate party, by default, your transaction would be interstate, IGST, unless otherwise. So there may be some rider, but default ticking would be interstate. Please tell me in a chat box. I know a lot of you have something, questions in your mind. I will definitely try to resolve, but go with me. Please tell me, by understanding this aspect, it is clear. Tell me it is clear to all of you. Clear, say yes, so that I get a feel of it. Yes, you got my point right. All right. So it is very clear. Then let me take another, check whether you understand or not. Another googly for all of you. So this time it's a bouncer. If it is B2C transaction, B2C C transaction. Counter sell. You are from Mumbai. You are not registered. Recipient is not registered. Coming to Delhi for purchasing sari. Purchasing sari. So I'm counter selling my saris. So it is B2C transaction. I'm handing over the saris to you at my shop in Chandni Chowk in Delhi. So for B2C transaction, please tell me transaction is a intra or inter. So write down the answer in a chat box, intra or inter. B2C counter sell. So I'm looking for the answer. Please tell me what is this? So intra. Lot of you are saying intra. Perfect, perfect. Intra. All right. Next bouncers. So next ball of the same over. Next ball of the same over. What happened if invoice value, taxable value is more than 50,000? More than 50,000. So you're a customer, unregistered customer from Maharashtra, coming to Delhi. Tell me transaction would be intra or inter. Please tell me. So here you are finding, see, different answer coming in a chat box, and chat box is visible to all of you. Lot of answers, and here and there we are getting lot of different, proposition. Lot of you are saying intra also, right? Answer H. Interstate. Interstate. IGST should have been levied. And where from it is coming, Now take down those pointers. If taxable value is more than 50,000, then there is specific rule, Rule 46E of CGST rule. And this rule says, Bimal, whenever there is B2C supply and taxable value is more than 50,000, it is clearly saying as a supplier, I need to capture name and address of the recipient. And address for delivery, including state name and code on the tax invoice raised by the supplier. So it's a responsibility on supplier to capture name and address of the buyer of Maharashtra, along with address for delivery and state name Maharashtra and state code on the invoice raised by supplier to the unregistered recipient. How many of you know about it? GST is a destination based consumption tax, right? It will accrue to a state of where ultimately goods and services are being consumed. So this GST council and GST law is being framed in such a way, and they have said, Bimal, if it is less than 50,000, we will not object anything. You charge intra, we are not going to object you. Charge CGST and daily SGST, no problem. But more than 50,000, they have made the rule. Rule is applicable today unless you mention the name of Maharashtra in that invoice. How the SGST portion will accrue to the state of Maharashtra? Goods are going to be consumed in Maharashtra. SGST must go to Maharashtra because GST is a destination-based consumption tax. But if you are wrongly treating as an intra, then you're charging CGST and Delhi SGST, and credit is going to Arvind Kejriwalji of Delhi state, which must go to Mr. Uddhav Thackerji of Maharashtra. I do not know as on date, Mr. Uddhav Thackerji. So Maharashtra. So this is the one concept. GST is a destination-based consumption tax. First part. Second part. If taxable value is more than 50,000, eBay will need to be generated, even though B2C supply. eBay bill supposed to be generated by the supplier, and he will say Delhi to Maharashtra, Delhi to Mumbai. How can it be intrastate? How can? It can't be. It can't be. So these are the practical things. Of course, I understand credit is not required by the buyer, by the recipient, because he's unregistered. But GST is a destination-based consumption tax. It must accrue to the state where ultimately goods and services are consumed, right? So that's what it should be, interstate IGST, but lot of us are charging intrastate CGST and Delhi SGST. First of all, you tell me in a chat box the concept as per the law, which I have said. Have you understood it? Say yes and no in a chat box. Yes and no in a chat box. First, you say yes and no in a chat box so that I get a confidence. Yes, you are getting it. So I want yes from each one of you. So I request that you must try to answer. All right. Thank you very much. Lot of yes. Thank you very much. So taking this clue a way forward, if so, there is someone is he saying that if multiple invoice less than 50,000, then of course no problem. Multiple invoice less than 50,000. I'm talking about per invoice value is more than 50,000. All right, you got my answer. Now let's try to resolve anything. The another connecting point here. If you wrongly treat any intra-state as a interstate, in this practical example, I posted a query and I asked you, please tell me transaction is a intra or inter. Lot of you have said intrastate, but I given my explanation and answer it should be interstate. So what happened? What worst can happen? Tell me in the chat box. What is going to be worst in this case? What is going to be negative in this case? What will be going against you? Sir, listen very carefully. There are so many good, learned tax professional sitting today and they're answering in a chat box. Department going to ask you to pay IGST. You have paid CGST, SGST, right? But still they will ask you to pay IGST. So what happened if you have paid CGST and SGST? Go for refund. That's what the provision under section 77 read with 77 of CGST Act, read with section 19 of IGST Act. So maybe inter-transaction is treated as an intra or vice versa, like that. So wrongly paid taxes, you should go for refund, and rightly taxes to be paid, they will demand that you should deposit. So there are two questions. Again, two connecting questions. Let's say after 3 years, you have done some transaction, let's say today, and after 3 years, there is audit. Department comes to know, and they say, Bimal ji, you have charged intra C and S. It should be interstate. After 3 years, you pay IGST, but the interest is also required to be paid with correct IGST. Say yes and no in a chat box. Yes and no in a chat box. With the interest leviable. Interest is not leviable. Fortunate part. We got fortunate part under section 77, subsection 2, no interest required to be paid. Second connecting question. What is the time limit to go for refund of wrongly paid taxes? Normally under section 54, there is time limit 2 years for claiming refund. So this transaction is now 3 years old. After 3 years, only department comes to know, and they are telling you, you pay correct taxes and go for refund. So what is the time limit? 2 years time period. Can you really go for refund? Please tell me. So no limit. But there is one circular number 162, clearly saying, Bimal, when you pay correct taxes, from there 2 years time limit or no time limit, they're saying no time limit. For section 77, 2 years only applicable for section 54 refund. So as and when you pay the correct taxes, you can go for claiming refund of wrongly paid taxes. That's the part of wrongly charged taxes. So this is the repercussion which is coming to you. So another mantra which is coming out, if it is B2C supply, create two pillar, less than 50,000 and more than 50,000. If it is less than 50,000, no problem. You treat intra, none is stopping you. You need not require to take name and address. You need not require. But if it is more than 50,000, an invoice is cut for 50,000 rupees or more, then necessarily you have to capture name and address of the recipient, address for the delivery, state name and code. So your customer master data for B2C transaction should have two pager. One less than 50,000, one is more than 50,000. Please tell me, is it clear to all of you? And that is how these are the things you have to prepare the system, and the system will help you to avoid errors in filing GST return. GST return. Now, when I'm doing this transaction, let me also clear one more practical problem which we see in normal practice. Sometime B2B transaction, B2B, I raise B2B invoice from Delhi to Maharashtra. But wrongly, as a supplier, I furnish as a B2C. It can happen, and we have seen in the past also. Wrongly, it is being furnished as a B2C transaction. My first question, whether credit going to be auto-populated in your GSTR 2A or 2B? Please tell me whether it is going to be auto-populated. No, no. You're having invoice of interstate IGST B2B transaction, but it is not getting auto-populated in your 2A or 2B. Whether credit is available, please tell me. Next question, whether credit is available, say yes and no. Yes and no. From 1st of January 2022, please. From 1st of January 2022, you will not get credit unless it is auto-populated in GSTR 2B. So you have to be very, very careful, very, very careful. So what you will do as a buyer, you will come back to me in a relevant month, let's say June. It is not getting auto-populated. You will let me know, Bimal ji, my transaction is not coming in 2B. Have you furnished or not? Maybe I have furnished the transaction, but I have furnished as a B2C as against B2B. So Bimal Jain has to amend this transaction. Bimal Jain has to amend this transaction. So I'm asking you now, I will take test. Little pause and test. Let me see how many of you are really captured. So I'm also, testing your skill set. I'm sure you must be liking these questionnaires for understanding sake. Let's say B2C I've captured, wrongly captured as a B2C. Interstate, I've furnished in table 5 because invoice value is more than 2.5 lakh rupees. If I at all I have to amend, and which I need to amend, then only credit is going to be reflected in GSTR 2B of the customer. So subsequent month, because I can't revise my GSTR 1. Once gone, gone. In subsequent month, I can amend the same. So when I need to amend this transaction, which table of GSTR 1 I'm going to amend? Please tell me. I'm looking for the answer. Which table? Don't give me the answer B2B, B2C. Tell me which table of GSTR1 you're going to put the number. So see, different answer. Different answer. I told you in the beginning, and somewhat this is what connectivity requires. We need to have synergy, understanding each other. It was a transaction of table 5, wrong. You have mentioned in table 5 of GSTR1, B2C interstate more than 2.5 lakh rupees. For amending table 5, you need to go back to table 9, table 9, table 9. Table 10 is going to be applicable when this is a transaction of table 7. which is B2C, intrastate and interstate up to 2.5 lakh rupees. So these are the relevant table you need to capture, and amendment is possible till September of next financial year, which is now proposed to be 30th November of next financial year as per this budget 2022. Hope I'm clear. Move to next item now. Next item now. Now, this transaction which I discussed, B2B and B2C, that may be applicable that wrongly, and let me finish this part as well. Supplier has wrongly picked up GST number of some other party as against you. I was supposed to pick your GST number, but as against your GST number, I picked up GST number of some other party. Is it going to be auto-populated in your 2B or 2A? Please tell me, is it going to be auto-populated? No. No. So need to be amended. And for amendment, I told you, table 9 for amendment of table 4, 5, and 6. Table 10 for amendment of table 7. You need to capture, and timeline is September of next financial year. Once it is getting amended by the Finance Act 2022, which is 30th November of next financial year, earliest date. If it intrastate, treated as an interstate, wrongly furnished as an interstate, let's take another example. It was interstate transaction, right? IGST. I have wrongly furnished as an intrastate. Possible, right? Is it going to be auto-populated in your GST or 2B? Because interstate transaction captured as an intrastate. No, again you need to amend it. Amendment required. So you have to be very, very careful, and these are the answer will help you how to do the amendment part. So third Guru Mantra, whenever your customer is coming back to you and he's saying, Bimalji, I'm not finding the credit in my 2A or 2B. You may be recipient also. Supplier is also recipient sometime. And he's not finding credit in his GSTR 2A or 2B. From 1st January 2022, please keep to your mind, you may be having a right invoice in your hand. You have paid the taxes to your supplier also. But make sure it is getting auto-populated in 2B, effective from 1st January 2022 for availing credit. If it is not coming in 2B, you have to go back to the supplier and tell him, boss, my credit not coming in 2B, kindly check and get these transaction amended before September of next financial year, which would be 30th November as per Finance Act 2022. So keep to your mind. Third proposition. We get a lot of dispute on classification and quoting of HSN and SSC code. HSN and SSC code. First, you must know the provision. If you are a registered person and your aggregate turnover is up to 5 crore in preceding financial year, then compulsorily you have to quote 4-digit HSN code or SSC code for B2B supply. Compulsory. Question to all of you, if it is B2C and your aggregate turnover is only up to 5 crore in preceding financial year, is it compulsory for quoting of 4-digit? Please tell me yes and no. Is it compulsory? So I'm not getting answer in a way I was getting. So a lot of you are saying yes and no. Thank you very much. I'm sure you're liking these kind of interactive wisdom where we are. So for B2C, law is saying it is optional. It is optional. But my suggestion to all of you would be, once you start picking up 4-digit for B2B supply, there is no harm. I can capture even for B2C transaction, though it is optional. Second situation, if aggregate turnover is more than 5 crore in a preceding financial year, then how many digit you have to capture compulsorily? Please tell me how many digit. It's a six digit HSN and SSC code. HSN for goods. Is it applicable for services? Please tell me yes and no. Is it applicable for services? Please tell me yes and no. It is applicable even for services. 6 digit compulsorily for B2B or B2C both together. For B2B or B2C both together. And this is another challenge for all of us together. Sometimes we have a difference. What is the GST rate applicable? Whether 5%, 12%. As on date, we are having different rate applicable for different goods and services. 0.25, 3, 5, 12, 18, 28, compensation cess. So sometimes we have challenges and sometimes we are having interpretation issue. I'm not going into the case studies for interpretation and classification, but we are having differences. I'm just trying to help you out that GST Common Portal has now developed one facility. You can go back to that search your classification, HSN and SSC code on GST Common Portal. You can go back and check out what is the GST rate corresponding to your goods, where you're picking up the HSN or SSC for services, at least to get certainty. Even thereafter, if you're having any issue pertaining to interpretation, then you need to take proper legal recourse, legal action to substantiate your argument, what is the rate applicable. But there's a facility window available on GST Common Portal for searching your HSN and SSC code, and these are free. You can always go back and check it out. Coming to the next pointer, which is very, very important for understanding sake, e-invoicing. Now, before I say e-invoicing, let me ask one question to all of you. I'm a supplier and I'm supposed to generate e-invoice. First, what you will look at? You will look at to whom it is applicable, right? It is applicable for such registered person whose aggregate turnover, means pan-India turnover from all registration, it's crossing the threshold amount in any of the preceding financial year starting from 2017-18. It started with 500 crore from 1st October 2020, reduced to 100 crore 1st January 2021, reduced to 50 crore from 1st April 2021, reduced to 20 crore from 1st April 2022. And these are not far off. Government is now working that this e-invoicing going to be applicable for all registered person whose aggregate turnover threshold is more than 5 crore. Date can be 1st October 2022 or can be 1st April 2023. And recently is news coming in because 47 GST Council meeting is now going to be held on 20th and 29 June, and this is one of the agenda item. They are going to add 6 other dedicated IRP, invoice registration portal, to take and tackle these volume of for generating the e-invoice. Quick run up, it is applicable for B2G, business to government, B2B supply, taxable supply, B2B taxable supplies. Pertaining to that, debit note, credit note, and export, even though recipient is not registered, but for export, you need to capture. Who are being excluded? G2B. So government company raising invoice to the taxable person, exempted. SEZ unit is taken out, but not the developer. NBFC, financial institution, insurance company, GTA, passenger transportation services and multiplexes cinema admissions are being kept out of invoicing provision. What all documents are out of GST? Your receipt voucher when advance received, refund voucher when you refund the money, payment voucher for RCM including self-invoice, ISD invoice, no generation of e-invoicing, and bill of supply for exempted supply out of generation of e-invoice. And what is the concept? That if it is applicable to you, you will generate your invoice, normal invoice, from your own billing, accounting and billing software. But it should be having specified particulars as per schema INB01, INB01, and that is converted into JSON file and then transmitted to dedicated invoice registration portal like www.invoice1.gst.gov.in, and this IRP then deduplication check, does the deduplication check, verify the details, and once verified and checked, it assign a dedicated unique IRN number, invoice registration number, with QR code and digitally sign, and then give it back to the supplier who had generated the invoice. Alongside, simultaneously, these data is being pushed by IRP to your GST common portal for auto population of details in your GSTR1. Again, it pushed the data to eBay bill portal for generation of eBay bill. So part A data of eBay bill is normally being filled up while generating IRN. Only part B, like truck number, transporter name, etc., need to be filled up in part B. So if it is filled up at the time of registration, generation of IRN, you can generate eBay bill automatically. Even though the data getting auto-populated in GSTR1, but you need to cross-check and verify. To that extent, still, the system integration is having some challenges. It is getting auto-populated from IRP to GST common portal, coming in my GSTR1, but cross-checking and verification still lies with the supplier to cross-check and verify. To that extent, they are still, not strengthened. But that is how the e-invoicing. But my question to all of you, two questions. First question, if I have to generate e-invoice and I have not generated e-invoice, as a buyer, as a recipient, can you take credit on normal tax invoice raised by me, but I have not generated e-invoice? Tell me answer in a chat box. Yes and no. Give me the answer in a chat box. Can you avail credit? You can't avail credit unless e-invoice is generated. So for buyer also it is important, when he's procuring from a supplier, he must ensure that his supplier is under provision of for generating e-invoice. How, where from you can check who all are the person supposed to generate e-invoice? Just GST number, you can go to that invoice registration portal and check by putting the GST number and check whether this particular person is supposed to generate e-invoice. And even for yourself, you can check, am I supposed to generate e-invoice? So you have to be very, very careful. Another question for e-invoicing, which I'm asking you, and it is very tactful question. I need to generate invoice for my today's transaction as per section 31. On my Twitter, I do not know how many of you are on my Twitter or LinkedIn or Facebook or YouTube. I'm running a lot of poll nowadays and asking those queries. I'm tagging Zoho books also in those polls. I asked one query and query watch, when I need to raise invoice, let's say invoice as per section 31 need to be raised before and at the time of removal of goods when I'm talking about goods. But if I could not generate e-invoice, what is the way forward? I've got lagging late. I've only raised tax invoice, not generated e-invoice, and 15 days gone or 30 days gone. Can I still generate IRN even for the past period? Please tell me. Is it possible? Say yes and no. Is it possible? Say yes and no. So I'm getting a lot of answer. Very good. So a lot of you are answering also. Very good. Very good. And answer to all of you. Answer to all of you. As on date, there is no rider. You can go to this IRP portal. It is picking up. So some Rohit Goyal is saying time limit is only 3 days. I do not know, but I'm telling you, to my knowledge, Invoice portal was not having any bar. Even for, of course, provision wise, Ankita Khetan. Ankita is saying, sir, it is before at the time of removal of goods. I'm telling you, listen very carefully. Of course, section 31 need to be followed for raising even e-invoice. But they have not put the rider, they have not put any constraint on invoice registration portal. You can go back and even for the past period you can generate such invoice IRN number, and it is important for your buyers to take credit. So they have given this relaxation on the portal. Kindly have a check. Portal is allowing. So somebody has said to me, Mr. MVVS Rangarao. He's saying portal is allowing. So portal is allowing, giving only relaxation, but time-wise, it should be as per section 31. So Suryam is saying, is it not as per the law? See, law is saying section 31, Suryam. So okay, let me proceed. Portal is allowing. I did it. Raman Goel says, so get it done. That's what I'm telling you. But penalty leviable. Yes, penalty. It is not 100% penalty. As per me, it is 125 penalty, general penalty going to be levied. So I discussed the e-invoice. Now, because time is the pause, let me go back to GST credit, important one. Allow me 10-15 minutes more, because 1 hour session, we have exceeded the time. Maybe GST ITC, input tax credit. See, for availing ITC, we need to satisfy 4 conditions, right? For availing credit, as a buyer, as a recipient, you should have tax invoice. You must have received goods or services. Your supplier must have paid taxes. That's the provision. That is the disputed one, but that is how the provision talks about. And as a recipient, as a buyer, you are regularly filing GST return. These are the provision, right? From 1st January 2022, 5th condition got added, that credit must be auto-populated in GSTR 2B of the recipient. Now, first question which I'm posting to all of you, whether my credit, buyer's credit, is really dependent on GSTR 2A. As I know, 2B is now effective only from 1st January 2022. So question to all of you, whether credit avail in GSTR 3B for the prior period, prior to 1st January 2022, and we are getting a lot of scrutiny notices. Whether credit is really dependent on GSTR 2A, please tell me yes and no. Yes and no, please tell me. To my mind, my credit is not dependent on GSTR 2A as per legal interpretation. As per legal interpretation. And I'm also giving you one judgment, Bharti Airtel, by Honorable Supreme Court. And Honorable Supreme Court has said GSTR 2A is only facilitation. GST is a self-assessment tax. You should avail the credit if you are satisfying the condition of section 16, subsection 2. 2A is only facilitation. Rest assured, these many notices which is being issued will go for a toss. But from 1st January 2022, you need to cross-check whether credit is getting auto-populated in GSTR 2B or not. So let me take 2 more examples. One example, credit coming in the 2B. Let's assume credit coming in GSTR 2B, but credit is not available. Can you give me one example? Can you write one example in a chat box that credit is auto-populated in 2B, but still credit you can't take? So tell me, a lot of things are coming in a chat box. The prominent example could be Vinod Sharma has written in the chat box. Let's say it's a transaction of June. I'm raising invoice today on 24 June being supplier. I'm capturing my GSTR 1 of June. That is getting auto-populated for the buyer recipient and for the June month GSTR 2B. But you're receiving goods on 5th July. So when you're receiving goods on 5th July, even though it is auto-populated in 2B, but still credit is not available for the month of June. Credit is going to be available only in July when you're receiving goods, because that is one of condition under section 16 subsection 2. You need to satisfy all 5 conditions. Another example could be it is not coming in 2B, but can you avail credit? Please tell me. It is not coming in 2B. Please tell me. Can you avail credit? Please tell me. Yes, we can avail credit. We can avail credit. Like reverse charge, RCM liability, which is not coming in 2B. But still I can take credit in the same month. Import of goods, import of services. So I've given you both the examples. So even though we are having GSTR 2B, but GSTR 2B, you have to cross-check, verify, and prepare your data accordingly. So this is all Guru Mantra, all Guru Mantra. Now let me take forward time limit to avail credit. Time limit to avail credit. I know section 16 subsection 4 of CGST Act. Earliest of due date of furnishing 3B of September in next financial year pertaining to any financial year, which is normally 20th October. Or date of furnishing annual return. Now this provision is getting changed because of Finance Bill 2022. It is 30th November now, but yet to be implemented. It's a prospective clause. So they have extended the time limit to avail credit. Now one question let me ask. It is little technical, little interpretation issue, but still let me check it out from all of you. Time limit to avail credit as per section 16 subsection 4. Can we really debate and litigate the matter? Lot of dispute for 17-18, 18-19, 19-20 for the past years. We are learning GST over a period of time. For 17-18, they have extended to 31st March 2019 by way of special order. But there was a dispute also that GSTR 3B is not a return under section 39. So we have assumed that date of furnishing annual return would be the last date for availing credit. Lot of dispute. What is your take on the matter? My take is, first of all, you try to avail credit within the time limit. Within the time limit. If you have failed to avail credit for either or region, an amount is substantial, then of course you must go for the litigation. Of course you must go for litigation. For the region, I've got many pointers which I can tell you and I can guide you. Like section 16 subsection 2, when we read this particular section 16 subsection 2, it is clearly saying, notwithstanding anything contained in this section, so overriding everything of section 16, and then saying registered person can avail credit provided these conditions are satisfied. So under section 16 subsection 2, there were 4 conditions only. So I can go to litigate the matter on this interpretation also. I can also litigate the matter for a number of different operational inconvenience, and that may be the region that my vested right cannot go away in terms of Article 300 capital A or Article 19(1)(g) to the Constitution of India. So this is a time limit. Now coming back to GSTR 3B, that relevant table is table 4A. You need to pick up the credit pertaining to import of goods that is not getting auto-populated. If it is not integrated with the ICE gate in your GSTR 2B, but still credit is available. Import of services, RCM liability, not there under 2B, but still you can take the credit, and RCM credit is available in the same month. Your other inward supply subject to reverse charge, ISD credit and others credit. You need to capture your other reversal in terms of rule 42 and 43, which is reversal of common ITC pertaining to your exempted supply. And other credit, if you are reversing, that may be on account of rule 37. So when you fails to pay within 180 days, so I'm little past, but you would be knowing that. This would be maybe, I will take two more case study and then sum up and we'll start open question answer session. I'm a supplier. I raised the invoice. You did not pay to me. My first question, can you avail the credit? I raised the invoice on 24 June today, which you did not pay to me. Can you avail credit? Please tell me yes and no. Can you avail credit? Yes or no? You can avail credit. You can avail credit. Bimal Jain, supplier has not received the payment as yet. Do I require to pay the liability? Supplier has to pay the liability. Say yes and no in a chat box. Quickly, do I require to pay the liability? Yes, I need to pay because my liability is accrual, irrespective of fact whether I receive the payment or not. If I don't pay, rate of interest is 18% per annum. I really don't find this rate of interest is justified. First of all, as a supplier, I have not received the payment. If I don't pay, then interest is 18% per annum. It is not support to a small service provider or small taxpayer. MSME, they need support, and this interest rate need to be revisited when I need to pay the liability on accrual basis. But what happens if you don't pay within 180 days? Now, next question, you don't pay within 180 days and 180 days is expiring. You have availed the credit, right? You need to reverse. You need to reverse along with interest. Along with interest. And what is the rate of interest? Please tell me. What is the rate of interest? I'm looking for the answer. 18%, not the 24%. 18%. And fortunate part, this Finance Act 2022 has clarified under section 50 subsection 3, clearly said the rate of interest now going to be 18% as against 24% from 1st July 2017. An important another aspect, sometimes we avail credit, but that is wrong availment of credit. Wrong availment of credit. Different question. Now, you know that you have wrongly availed and you are reversing credit without utilization. One situation. Another situation, after utilization. So wrongly avail credit. Before utilization, you have not utilized the same, you are reversing. Whether interest is leviable. Tell me yes and no. Yes and no in a chat box. Whether interest is leviable. I'm looking for the answer. No interest. No interest, and that too from July 1, 2017. This year budget has proposed amended section 50 subsection 3, and I have created one video. There are 2-3 videos which you will find on my YouTube channel. Go back and check those videos for updating yourself. But if you have utilized the credit, if credit is being utilized by you, then what happened? Interest leviable, say yes and no. Then of course interest leviable. But what is the rate of interest? 18% or 24%? Please tell me. Rate of interest should be 18% or 24%. Please. Looking for the answer. As per me, 18%. As per me, 18%. It's not a case of ITC mismatching. 18% leviable. So time over the pots. I thought of giving flavor to all of you, mixing up everything into one capsule. How to avoid errors while filing GST return. Before I sum up today, so CA Paras Agrawal is saying, wonderful, sir. Before I sum up today, this capsule was like, rapid fire capsule with a lot of queries, lot of things I've delivered with all of you. And I'm thankful to each one of you. Everyone was so active throughout, and they have given me the answer of all the questions which is being posted during my deliberation. First, of course, I will start my open house session, but before I sum up, let me ask one question to all of you. Maja aaya? Are you satisfied with this power pack? Because you have taken out your time, right? Important time. And I've tried my best to give you the power pack presentation. How to avoid errors while filing GST return. I know that something we can't, make everything 100% foolproof, but still we can give a try to make certain things in a better way. And we can improvise. Certain things we can create. Certain example I took from outward supply, certain example I took from GST ITC. But it's a journey we are going together. We are learning together. And we are hand holding each other like sabka saath, sabka vikas. So I always try to give my best to my all fraternity and friends. I'm thankful to each one of you who has taken out your time, important time, and watching this webinar today and taking these important pointers which I delivered today. But otherwise, you can always touch base. And in today's webinar, Zoho Books is going to announce to you 5 lucky winners for getting my free GST latest book, the commentary, GST law and commentary of 4 volumes. So 5 lucky winner would be announced who would be getting this book free, sponsored by Zoho. So thanking once again to all of you. Each one of you, stay tuned. You can touch base on my social media for regular update on GST. It can be Twitter, it can be Facebook, it can be LinkedIn, it can be YouTube. Thank you very much. Now handing over to Hasini to take it forward.
Thank you so much, Bimalji. I don't think I have to say anything about the webinar. There are so many messages coming across about how they enjoyed every part of your lecture today. Yeah, like how Bimalji said, for every webinar that we are doing along with Bimalji, we are finalizing 5 lucky draw winners that are being selected randomly. And we have been sending. So for the last webinar, we have been able to finalize the winners, and then Bimalji's latest book of on GST. So it's a wonderful book of 4 volumes. So that we are sending across to the 5 lucky draw winners, and this is something that will happen for all the webinars coming across along with Bimalji. So today, whoever has joined us, we request you to keep you can follow Bimal Jain's handles and also Zoho Books' handles to get updates on when we are planning to use upcoming webinars with Bimal Jain. So now I had a wonderful time watching you present, Bimalji, and it was really very, very entertaining and also very interactive. I think you kept the audience very interactive by asking a lot of questions. So they were literally sitting, they would be sitting in the end of their seat, waiting for answering every question that you have posted. So that way it was very entertaining for all of us. I'm letting you know on behalf of the attendees too. So now let's take a few questions here. I think you had answered most of it in your lecture itself. So now let's take a few questions. Um, okay, so we have a question from. Okay, this is a question from Shanti Venkataraman. Can we put credit note for export sale of services? If yes, where will it appear in GSTR 1 and GSTR 3B?
Of course, table 9 of GSTR 1, and corresponding to that, you can do the adjustment in table 3.1b of GSTR 3b of relevant month.
All right. Now let's have another question by Mr. Sanjeev Goel. Hello, sir. One client who is having LUT has turnover around 2 crore. from cosmetic product sale out of India. They did not want to claim the ITC as well. Can we file the GST for the whole month showing one invoice in GSTR1, and what will be the consequence?
So one client you're saying having LUT and turnover around 2 crore from cosmetic product sales out of India. They did not want to claim the ITC as well. That is their wish in case they are not willing to. Who is putting condition on them? But that is a loss of credit for you. So it is a cost detrimental for your business. Can we file the GST for the whole month showing one invoice in GSTR1? No way. Invoice you have to raise as per the transaction. So whatever transaction you are entering into, so there are 10 transactions assume in a particular month, then 10 invoice need to be raised irrespective of fact you do not want to avail credit. And consequences, of course, penalty if you don't generate the invoice. That is going to be applicable. Ashwini.
Okay. So let's take one more question. This is from Ankita. Ankita Khetan. So she's where should outward supplies attracting RCM be shown in GSTR 3B by a GTA? GST is payable by the recipient of service.
So Ankita, this question again and again, popping up in the minds of everyone. So I will take 1 or 2 minutes to explain this transaction to each one of you so that you get a clarity. What Ankita is writing, where should outward supply attracting RCM be shown in GSTR 3B? So she's saying that I'm a supplier and my outward supply is subject to RCM to be paid by the recipient. Where you should be shown in 3B by a GTA. So she has picked up an example of GTA. So if GTA is registered but subject to RCM, he will raise the invoice and mention that particular transaction in table 4 of GSTR1 and tick RCM applicable. RCM applicable. So if RCM applicable, what recipient will do? Because then it is not your outward liability. Your recipient has to pay the liability. So the recipient will declare in table 3.1b of GSTR 3B and take the credit accordingly under table 4A. This is how. If he is an unregistered GTA, then he will not raise any tax invoice, nothing to be declared in GSTR1. Being recipient, he will show in table 3.1D for your liability for RCM, and he will take credit in table 4A relevant in that particular month. Please tell me, I want to see in a chat box, am I clear to all? Please write in a chat box that this point which I explained to all of you, say yes in a chat box that it is clear to all of you. Ankita, you must also make a mention that yes, you got it. Because this point I have explained so many times. So Chinmay Patwa is saying, please repeat 3B. Okay, Ankita is saying, yes, sir, I understood. Chinmay, listen once again for you only. GTA may be registered, may not be registered. If GTA is registered, let's say I'm a GTA, I'm registered, then I will definitely raise the tax invoice. And I will capture in my table 4 of GSTR1, but I will tick RCM liability. So that is not my outward liability. So nothing going to be reflected in GSTR 3B of mine, GTA. It is only recipient who will pay the liability in table 3.1D RCM and take the credit. If I'm an unregistered supplier, unregistered GTA, then I'm not going to raise tax invoice. Nothing is going to be declared by me in GSTR1 table 4. I will only capture recipient, going to capture this transaction in table 3.1D for outward liability under RCM. It is inward supply subject to RCM and corresponding credit in table 4A. Since you have procured from unregistered supplier, Being recipient, you will generate self-invoice to yourself under section 31 subsection 3 clause F of CGST Act. That is what the provision as on date. So I have said this answer to Ankita and to all others. Can I get once again clarity in a chat box that it is clear? Giza, it is clear now to all of you? Okay, all right. Next.
So let's take this as a last question. We have a lot of questions, but if you have any questions, then you can definitely, attend more of Bimalji's sessions, or you can post your questions on his Twitter handle also. He's very active on social media. So let's take this last question from Sunny Gupta. He says, will non-issuance of e-invoice amount to removal of goods without issue of invoice? If yes, then penalty under section 122 should also be applicable.
Sunny, you looks like from department. Sunny, on a lighter note, are you there or not in a chat box? Say yes. Are you there in a? Are you there still in? Okay, Sunny is there. Sunny is there. Okay, so he has said yes to me. Sunny looks like you become, from a tax department. You're giving food for thought to their mind. Of course, technically you are right. Technically you are correct. Non-issuance of e-invoice, which is responsibility on supplier, and that can be termed as amount without issue of invoice. Definitely, yes, I do agree with you. No denial to it. And you can always say penalty can be levied under section 122 subsection 1. But since you know that this invoice registration portal, even though this provision exists, but they have not put any bar and they're keeping it open. Even for the past period, invoices can be uploaded and IRN can be generated, right? Why they have done so? Reason is that we all are learning over a period of time. So they are not emphasizing much, and they want this taxpayer to learn the process ASAP. Law-wise, you are 100% correct, Sunny. No denial to it. No denial to it. But they are giving some runway to us to capture the provision with the compliances. So to me, at the moment, you can always say, sir, when this invoice registration portal allowing me, why it is allowing me? Because these are being considered as a procedural lapses. I have generated my IRN maybe after some period. So I'm complying with the law, which I was supposed to do at the time of removal of goods. So I've complied, but there's a time gap. This should not be considered as a major evasion. It should be only general penalty. Sunny, am I clear? Sunny, please tell me, am I clear? All right. So Hasini, Sunny has said yes, he got the
All
answer.
right. So we had a great time with all of you. And Bimal ji, thank you so much again for making this webinar a hit also. So we had great time with you. And also, I think the attendees had a great time as well. So let's have the same. So we are expecting you all to join our next webinar also upcoming month. We're looking at the date very soon. Follow Bimal ji's social medias and also Zoho's social media for updates on his upcoming webinars. So thank you, everybody. We had a great time with you, and thank you so much, Bimal ji.
Just 1 minute, I will take
Yeah.
Hasini to wish my all the participants today. This webinar series, which is being run by Zoho Books, is one of the unique and special initiative for handholding to the trade members and tax professional both together. And we are picking up the topic which is more of connected with the mass audience. We are picking up such topics which is going to help all of us together. We are trying to make GST as a good and simple text. Lot of if and buts, lot of divergent answers of a particular query. Otherwise, these queries which are being posted today, we are finding answer in either way. So none is correct in GST as on date. But who is correct in GST as on date? Who is trying to keep himself updated and really grasping the provision. So important part, remain tuned with all of us together. We are taking this initiative with you, and I always say, "Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas. So we are trying to help each other. So stay tuned. We are running this webinar series every month. We are doing a one program. So just I'm taking chance, means I'm announcing that National GST Conclave, where Zoho is also one of the partner. We are organizing on 7th of July, which is hybrid mode, physical come webinar by PSD Chamber of Commerce, National GST Conclave, where Zoho is also coming in, and we are getting learned speaker, Mr. Narayanan, to speak from Zoho side, how they are trying from compliances perspective, what kind of things they are doing on GST compliances in terms of GSTR 1, 2A, 2B matching, then GSTR 3B platform for the e-invoicing. So Joe is also joining, but this National GST Conclave is very, very important because we have invited CBIC chairperson, Mr. Vivek Jori. So he would be chief guest. And then we got three technical sessions. The way we have divided technical session is very interesting one. The first technical session will be chaired by none other than Principal Commissioner, GST Policy Wing, Mr. Sanjay Mangalji. And there would be three speakers, and we will give them a topic of constitutional and the litigated issues. So there'll be open debate, then the remarks by this chairperson, Mr. Sanjay Mangalji, for the first technical session. Second technical session again continue with the GST technicalities and the problem which we are facing in GST input tax credit. Same way and model we are going to follow, that there would be different speaker and chaired by one of the government official. So we have invited Commissioner from Delhi region, Mr. Anupam Prakash, to chair the session. And there will be three speakers. So they would be interacting on those points, and then we will have answer coming from Commissioner, GST Delhi. And third session is on GST and Common Portal. GST and Common Portal, where we have invited Mr. Manish Sinha, CEO. So we are awaiting his confirmation, hopeful that he will join in. So he would be chairing that session, and there would be speaker, including Zoho. So on GST Common Portal and compliances, where we are, how things are moving, what are the things happening, and the answer from GST and Common Portal, like CEO Mr. Manish Kumar Sinha, that how things are, they are trying their best, what are the improvisation they are doing. Of course, we both are trying to see improvement, and improvement is happening when we have seen GST got introduced on July 1, 2017. So we all are trying to take this journey forward. I've taken this opportunity to let you know, I really want, kindly join that National GST Conclave. Physical, we have got limited capacity, but it is hybrid mode, virtual also you can join. And with this, we can have lot of interaction together. So you can listen to other speaker as well. Thanks for your love and affection to me. I'm so obliged because I see a lot of comments when you send in your chat box, sending so much of positivity. It really motivates me to do better and better. Thanking each one of you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Bimal Jain. Bye.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye-bye.